Okay, here we go. 4-1, juxtaposition cross of articulation. We enter to the juxtaposition of the 12th gate. This is about articulation. That's precisely what it's about. There are unusual beings in a way. They're very good at being able to mutate somebody with something, somebody else's thing. There's so many 4323s. The world is full of 4323. The more of them that I've met in my process, the more I realized that they couldn't articulate their way out of a paperback. This explanation of the 23, as we saw already, how difficult it is to get to a point where one can translate the inner acoustic into a viable explanation of the new. But one of the real gifts of the 12 is that the 12 can hear the 23 choke and gurgle over trying to express itself and immediately know how to articulate it. That fourth line of the prophet is the voice that articulates the wishes of God and angels and demons and whatever. These are prophets of doom and prophets of gloom and prophets of hope. They're the articulators, and they don't really truly care what they're articulating. It's always to me the fascinating thing about the nature of the 4-1 and why their environment, their culture is so important to them. They are not questioners at the personality level. They do not question. Their whole role is to be shift merchant to articulate the right angle experience and to be able to influence small groups through the capacity of being able to articulate. They've moved by poetry, even when poetry is describing something mundane. And why? Language is a formula. Sounds are formulas. Sounds deeply impact us. Articulation is about magic. It's about the magic of the mantra. It's about the magic of the word change. It's about the magic of how one can be changed in one's life by hearing the words. So the articulator is very powerful. However, they themselves are often deeply, deeply insecure because it wasn't their research, study, or investigation. Remember what the 1-4 or the 4-1. They take on the prevailing platform and they only use it to their one ability to be able to ensure that they can deliver the platform, not to question it. And even when the platform is attacked or threatened, they will not use their I want to say, hey, maybe they're right. Now they will dig deeper and deeper to find more defenses for their position. So the great difficulty with the articulators is that most of them are voices in the wilderness, and most of them are voices in the wilderness because they're not articulating what is clear and obvious to them. They're not articulating something that they have a foundation in. They're simply mutative forces. You call them, you could call them pitchmen, the kind of person you see on television who's telling you with great earnestness how wonderful a product is. They are able to articulate the slogans, they are able to articulate the message, but you know that even though they are advising Coca-Cola, they drink Pepsi at home. That's the truth underneath. So think this is the 4-1, and this is the thing to recognize about them. And I had a buddy of mine years ago in the late 80s, and we made music together. We had a rock band together, and we wrote music together. And one day he walked into my room when I was sitting and I was playing music, and I was singing one of my songs, and I basically about my experiential process. And he said to me, "It must be though to live up to those lyrics," and I thought there was a preceptive concept. It's one of the things about the 4-1. It's very difficult for them to live up to their lyrics. It's like the preacher that is so powerful in the preaching but beds down with prostitutes at night. They're so powerful in their articulation, yet underneath, whoa, the paper, the paper. You break through underneath and you see, wait a minute, you were just articulating morality, propriety, all these things, and look at you, you're drunk, sleazed out. That's why I don't trust prophets. I don't trust anyone who speaks for God. I never would have gone into the world and said, I spoke for the voice. Here's my story. My thing is there's human design. Try it out. This is not the prophet representing something because, after all, I know the not self world. This is the time of false prophecy. And both the 4-6 and the 4-1 carry this false prophecy into the world with great strength and articulation. There's so many voices that you can hear out there, and so persuasive and so persuading. And the 4-1 prophet that tells you that wearing that vest or bomb is going to get you into heaven and into the arms of 70 virgins, well, you got to be a good articulator to get to that cross. This is really the influence business. Influencing, peddling is what 4-1s are really good at. Jesus, I'm really hard on them today. Well, though, it tells us something about their childhood and their parents and what is necessary. Every time I go through any of these processes, I realize it's all in the hand of the ignorant parents. This is a battle for us to transform the children, for us to transform the consciousness of parents to liberate the children. So we want to liberate our children. This is what this whole game is all about, right?